All right, get ready to dive into some amazing wines. We're talking American West Coast wines today.
Sounds delicious.
It is. And it seems like you're ready for a trip yourself. You've brought a whole stack of articles and excerpts,
Yeah.
all in Portuguese.
Well, it is fascinating stuff.
It is. We've got a chapter here, Costa Oeste Americana. And it's really not just about vineyards.
Right.
This is a serious deep dive into the whole culture, the geography,
History.
the history, even food pairings.
Oh, yeah.
We're going to be your translators today
Perfect. I'm ready.
and turn this Portuguese treasure trove into pure West Coast wine wisdom.
All right, let's do it.
What I find really fascinating is how much this chapter emphasizes the terroir.
Yes.
It's not just sunshine and beaches.
Right.
There's ocean breezes, mountain ranges,
Oh, yeah.
even volcanic soils. They all play a role.
They all play a part. You know what's interesting about that is it really makes you think about the uniqueness
Yeah.
of this area for winemaking. You've got all these different elements coming together, and that's what this chapter really stresses.
It does. It does. The Pacific Ocean has always been a big question mark for me.
Yeah.
Like, how does that play into all of this? This isn't tropical heat. Really.
No, it's not at all. Actually, those cool Pacific currents create this really gentle climate, almost Mediterranean.
I see.
It's perfect for allowing those grapes to ripen slowly and evenly. So you end up with these wines with complex aromas, that really bright acidity that you love, and those smooth tannins.
It's like nature's slow cooker for grapes.
Exactly. It just brings out all those layers of flavor.
That makes so much sense. This winemaking tradition on the West Coast, it's not exactly new, is it?
It's not new at all. This chapter mentions Spanish missionaries planting vines way back in the 18th century.
Wow.
It's amazing when you think about those early vineyards tucked away among the missions. Just picture that scene.
Oh, it's beautiful. Of course, we can't forget Prohibition. Early 1900s nearly decimated the whole industry.
Talk about a plot twist, huh?
Yeah.
It's like a whole chapter in itself.
But like a good vine, they persevered. They came back strong.
They did.
This chapter even mentions the 1976 Judgment of Paris.
Oh, yes.
California wines going head-to-head with French wines.
Blind tasting.
Blind tasting, and surprise, the California wines won.
They took the crown.
That must have been a game changer.
It was a huge turning point. It really solidified their reputation for quality and put those West Coast wines, especially California wines, on the world map. It was a challenge to the dominance of European wine.
Absolutely. Okay, enough history.
Let's get to
Let's talk grapes.
yes.
This chapter, mentions all the big names: Cabernet Sauvignon, Pinot Noir, Zinfandel, Chardonnay, all the classics.
But the story of Zinfandel, that really got me. I mean, it's not even a Native American grape.
Right. It's funny. People think Zinfandel, they think California. But this chapter points out its origins are actually Croatian. Really? Wow.
And yet, it's found its perfect home, on the West Coast.
Yeah.
Produces those bold, fruity wines, that little hint of spice.
It's like the immigrant success story of the wine world. But, for me, California wine, it's all about Cabernet Sauvignon.
Yes.
And Napa Valley is its kingdom, wouldn't you say?
Napa is definitely Cabernet country. Those volcanic soils are ideal. The wines have got this power structure, those notes of blackcurrant cedar, and those firm tannins that soften with age.
It really is like sipping a glass of sunshine and history all at once.
It's an experience.
Yeah. But then we've got Oregon, which this chapter paints as a haven for Pinot Noir. What is it about Oregon that makes it so special for this, kind of finicky grape?
It's the climate. Oregon's climate is much cooler and damper than California's, perfect for Pinot Noir. The wines, they're known for their elegance, finesse. They've got these delicate aromas of red fruit, flowers. You get some earthy notes. They're not as powerful as a Napa Cabernet. They're more subtle, nuanced.
So if Napa Cabernet is like a bold statement piece, Oregon Pinot Noir is more of a delicate whisper.
Exactly. And both are beautiful in their own way.
I love that. I love those contrasting personalities. Now, this chapter really zeroes in on California's wine regions.
It does.
It's no secret. I mean, California is the powerhouse in the American wine scene.
Absolutely.
Napa Valley, with its rolling hills, those iconic wineries, it plays a starring role.
It's true. The region is known for its luxurious Cabernet Sauvignons, Thornton aged in oak, and the whole experience, it feels very sophisticated. It's like the first-class cabin of the wine world.
It's a great analogy. Sonoma, on the other hand, seems to be California's more relaxed cousin.
It is.
Wider range of varietals.
Absolutely.
Chardonnay, Zinfandel.
You name it.
And this chapter really highlights those smaller family-run wineries.
Yes. Sonoma has this really down-to-earth vibe. The wines are delicious, just as good, but the atmosphere is more about community. It's more intimate.
I love that. So if Napa is that sophisticated friend, the one who's traveled the world, Sonoma's the one you can just relax with.
Exactly. You can kick back, be yourself, and still enjoy amazing wine.
But California, it's more than just Napa and Sonoma, right? We've got the Central Coast. This chapter mentions Paso Robles.
Oh yeah, there's so much diversity.
What's happening in those regions?
Well, the Central Coast, it's become a real hub for sustainable winemaking and innovation.
Interesting.
They're experimenting with different grapes, pushing boundaries. It's really exciting to see what they're doing. Paso Robles, on the other hand, they're all about those Rhone-style grapes.
Oh, like Syrah.
Syrah, Grenache, Mourvèdre. Really powerful, spicy wines.
Wow. So even within California, there's this incredible range.
Absolutely. Each region has its own distinct personality, and that's what makes it so fascinating to explore.
You know, this is making me want to book a flight and explore right now.
I know, me too.
But we've still got Oregon and Washington to cover.
Oh, yeah, and those are completely different landscapes and wine styles. Get ready for a change of scenery.
Sounds like an adventure.
It is.
Okay, let's head up north now. The Pacific Northwest has got its own personality when it comes to wine.
Totally.
This chapter, it calls Oregon the Burgundy of America. That's a pretty big compliment in the wine world.
It's a huge compliment. And
Nah.
you know what? It's well-deserved.
Really?
Yeah, Oregon, with its cool climate and volcanic soil, I mean, that's what Pinot Noir dreams are made of.
Uh-huh.
The elegance, the complexity, it really rivals the best of Burgundy.
I'm impressed. What I noticed in this chapter is that Oregon, they're really committed to Pinot Noir.
Yes,
Almost to the point that they exclude other grapes. Like they found their star and they're sticking with it.
they have. And they do it so well. It's like they've found their niche, and they're just dedicated to perfecting it.
Mm-hmm.
Oregon winemakers, they have this deep respect for the terroir. They're passionate about expressing all the little nuances of each vineyard.
Makes sense.
It's not about trends for them or trying to please everyone.
Right.
They're focused on making wines that really show off the unique character of Oregon Pinot Noir. And that's what makes it special.
It does. Now, when it comes to Oregon wine country, the Willamette Valley seems to be the heart of it all. I'm picturing rolling hills covered in vineyards, maybe the Cascade Mountains in the distance.
You've got it exactly. It
It's
really
just
is breathtaking.
Beautiful.
There's this serene beauty to the Willamette Valley. And honestly, it's reflected in the wines.
I can see that. This chapter even says that Oregon wines, they should be enjoyed slowly.
Yes.
Like take your time, appreciate those layers of flavor. It's almost like meditation in a glass.
I love that analogy. That's exactly what it is. Oregon Pinot Noirs, they invite you to pause, to reflect, to savor.
Beautiful.
They're not meant to be, gulped down. You sip them, contemplate them.
Okay, Oregon is officially on my wine travel bucket list, but let's not forget Washington State. I'll be honest, when I think Washington, I think rain, I think coffee. But this chapter paints a very different picture.
It does. Washington is full of surprises.
Yeah.
They've got this continental climate, and it's actually really dry and sunny, perfect for all kinds of grapes.
Interesting.
And they're not just sticking to one or two styles of wine. Washington, they're making waves with everything.
Yeah.
Bold Cabernet Sauvignon, Merlot. They even do really crisp Rieslings.
Wow.
And those interesting Rhone-style blends as well.
It's like they're taking the best of California, the best of Oregon, making their own unique style. This chapter even calls Washington the up-and-comer of the American wine scene.
I think they are. They're definitely exceeding expectations. Washington winemakers, they've got this innovative spirit. They're always experimenting.
Yeah,
They're not afraid to push boundaries, try new things.
I like that.
It's exciting to see what they come up with next.
So while Oregon is about mastering that one varietal, Pinot Noir, Washington is about exploring all the different possibilities.
I think that's a really good way to put it.
Yeah.
Washington, it's full of energy and potential. And they've got this incredible natural beauty, too. You've got those dramatic mountain ranges, vast forests, even rainforests.
Hmm.
It's a dream for wine lovers and nature enthusiasts alike.
It's funny. I did not know Washington was the second largest wine producer in the U.S.
After California, of course.
Yeah, after California, of course. This chapter mentioned that, and I was blown away.
It's true. It's really a testament to the quality of Washington wines, the diversity they have there. They're getting a lot of attention on the world stage, and for good reason.
For good reason. All right, we've covered the three big players now: California, Oregon, Washington. This deep dive, though, it's not just about grapes and regions. This chapter, it really emphasizes the whole experience. Rhine tourism.
Enotourism.
Enotourism,
Right.
exactly. And what I think is so cool is that this chapter, it encourages us to go beyond the tasting rooms, go beyond the tours.
Right.
It wants us to really immerse ourselves in the culture, the history of each region.
You got it. It's about understanding the connection, between the land, the people, and the wines that they make.
Yes.
Think about Napa Valley, for example. Its history. It goes way back. You've got the Spanish missionaries, then the Gold Rush era. All these events shaped the wine industry there.
Yeah.
It adds a whole new layer of appreciation, when you're sipping that Cabernet Sauvignon. It's not just a drink.
It's a story.
It's a story. Exactly. And then you've got Sonoma, which is all about those sustainable practices, that deep connection to the land. They're not just making wine, they're preserving it for future generations.
That's amazing.
And you've got Oregon.
Yeah.
They're so dedicated to Pinot Noir. It's like a pilgrimage for wine lovers.
Yeah.
You go there to experience this unique terroir and the passion of those winemakers. They're dedicated to making world-class wines.
Amazing.
And then you've got Washington, right? With
Okay.
that innovative spirit, all those different wines, it's a perfect place for the adventurous wine traveler. Someone who's always looking for something new.
I love that. Now, this chapter is practical, too. It gives some really good advice about planning a wine trip to the West Coast. It says choosing the right time of year to visit is really important. The climate, the activities you want to do.
Yeah, like spring is a beautiful time to visit Napa and Sonoma. The vineyards are in bloom. The weather's perfect for being outside.
Beautiful.
But if you're on a budget, you want something a little more affordable.
Yeah.
Those shoulder seasons are great, like spring or fall.
Right.
You get great deals, fewer crowds. It's a good time to go.
Less crowded. And then transportation, I recommend renting a car.
Yeah, it gives you that freedom to explore.
Yeah.
But if you're going to be indulging in all that wine,
You need a designated driver.
you need a designated driver. Some places, like Napa Valley, they have wine tours and shuttles that can take you safely between wineries. So that's a good option too.
It is. And speaking of indulging, this chapter, it doesn't just focus on the wine.
No.
It goes into the amazing food scene of the West Coast.
Oh, the food is incredible.
Fresh, seasonal ingredients, all those innovative chefs.
Yeah. California, especially, they're known for their farm-to-table movement.
That's right.
It's changed the way people think about food. It's all about connecting with where your food comes from, supporting local farms, experiencing the real flavors of each season. It's amazing.
It is. Can you
Yeah.
imagine?
Yeah.
A meal at a charming restaurant in Sonoma overlooking the vineyards, knowing that the ingredients, they came from just a few miles away.
It's a special experience.
Yeah.
And you can't forget about all the seafood options on the Pacific Coast.
Oh, that's right.
Fresh oysters, Dungeness crab, wild salmon, halibut. Oh, the flavors are amazing.
I can just picture myself at a waterfront restaurant in Seattle.
Yeah,
Fresh oysters and a glass of Washington Riesling.
perfect pairing.
Perfect.
Yeah.
And for those who like a more rustic experience, California barbecue. Can't miss it.
Oh, that's right.
Santa Maria style.
Yes, with that red oak wood, it gives it that smoky flavor.
Shit.
It's amazing. Perfect for ribs and tri-tip. And of course, we can't talk about West Coast food without mentioning the cheese.
Oh, the cheese.
The artisan cheese.
It's incredible.
Creamy cheddars, tangy blue cheese. There's a cheese for everyone.
This chapter, it even highlights specific producers.
It does. Like Cowgirl Creamery in California and Rogue Creamery in Oregon. They're not just making cheese, they're making edible works of art.
It really is all about those handcrafted experiences.
Yeah.
Appreciating the passion and dedication behind all these culinary delights.
Absolutely. And the chapter doesn't leave us hanging, when it comes to pairing those delicious foods with the wine.
You're right.
It gives a good overview of those classic pairings. You've got your Sauvignon Blanc with seafood,
Uh-huh.
Cabernet Sauvignon with red meat, Pinot Noir with lighter dishes like poultry or salmon. Always good choices.
Always good choices, but it encourages experimentation too, right?
Oh, absolutely.
Finding your own favorites.
Yeah, there are no hard and fast rules when it comes to food and wine pairing. It's about finding those unexpected combinations that just work.
I like that. Finding those harmonies where the flavors just come together and it's magic.
That's what it's all about, the magic of food and wine.
We've talked about grapes and regions, even those food pairings. But this chapter, it doesn't stop there. It wants us to remember that a trip to the West Coast, it's about so much more than just wine.
It is. And you know what I think's so refreshing about this?
Yeah,
It really recognizes that for a lot of wine lovers, the journey is just as important as the destination.
I see that.
And the West Coast, I mean, come on, it's got it all. Breathtaking scenery, vibrant cities, there's something for everyone.
I agree. So let's say we've done our wine tasting for the day.
Okay.
What else does this chapter recommend?
Well, if you're into nature, the options are endless. California's redwood forests, those are a must-see.
Oh, yeah.
Imagine, hiking among those ancient giants,
Wow.
feeling so small under those massive trees.
It's humbling.
It is. Or maybe you'd prefer the coast.
Oh, the coast is beautiful.
The Oregon coast is amazing. Rugged, dramatic cliffs, those cute little seaside towns.
I love those.
It's like stepping back in time.
They're so charming.
And Washington State, don't forget those mountains.
Oh, the mountains.
Mount Rainier National Park.
Incredible.
A hiker's dream.
Yeah.
Stunning views, challenging trails. There's something for every level.
This chapter, it even suggests a whale watching tour off the coast of Washington or Oregon.
Oh, can you imagine?
That would be amazing.
Seeing those whales breach, unforgettable.
Oh, absolutely. And for those who are more into cities, the West Coast has some of the most vibrant ones in the world. San Francisco.
With that iconic Golden Gate Bridge.
Yes.
And all those unique neighborhoods.
Mm-hmm.
Or L.A., the city of dreams.
Yeah.
Hollywood Boulevard, the Hollywood Bowl, it's all there.
All happening.
And don't forget about Portland.
Oh, Portland's great.
So quirky and cool. Craft breweries, food scene, it's a vibe.
It is. And then Seattle. Birthplace of grunge music. That amazing skyline, the Space Needle.
It's iconic.
Iconic. Each city has its own personality.
Totally. And they're all bursting with cultural attractions. Museums, theaters, nightlife, you name it.
You name it. Well, this deep dive has been quite the journey.
It has.
We've explored the history, the grapes, the regions, the culture, the food, the adventures beyond the vineyards. This chapter has really captured what the West Coast wine experience is all about.
I think so, too. What I really appreciate is how it encourages us to be mindful, about wine tourism. It's not just about checking off boxes.
Yeah.
It's about slowing down, enjoying the moment,
Yeah.
connecting with the people, the places behind those wines.
Well said.
Yeah.
So whether you're a seasoned wine expert or you're just starting your exploration, we hope this deep dive has inspired you to start your own West Coast wine adventure. Cheers.
Cheers.